Thanks for joining us for our Chamber Connection podcast. Thanks to our friends at Speakeasy, we are here for the next 52 weeks, bringing you guests from around our community, elected officials, business owners, folks doing great work here in Macomb County. So sit back, take a listen, and we hope you'll join us every week for our Chamber Connection. Hi, thank you for joining me for this edition of our Chamber Connection. My name is Stacy, and I'm the president and CEO of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. We are here in Sterling Heights at our Speakeasy podcast studio, and I'm excited for my next guest, President Jim Sawyer from Macomb Community College. Jim, thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you, Stacy. I appreciate the invitation.
You know, we talk about things that are really important to the success of our communities, and Macomb Community College is really at the forefront of Macomb County being who we are. And you have had an interesting couple of years, but you've made some great changes. So first, how long have you been at Macomb now?
Well, I've been at Macomb about 20 years. I started as a dean in the engineering and advanced technology area. I've been president now for the last 5.5 years. So
it flew by, didn't it?
It flew by. I never saw higher education. Was never on my career plan. I was a engineer and operations plant manager type of roles through my beginning of my career, and kind of stumbled into the deanship at the college. And once I got there, I really just got bit by the college and the work that the college has done over the years and how important it is for the community. And, there's really no comparison when making widgets to changing people's lives is just no comparison. So,
and working with young people is always really exciting too.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Brings a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. But the interesting thing about community colleges, we deal with a lot of older adults too, who are back to really reinvent themselves. And there's a lot of excitement that goes with that as well.
And you didn't expect a pandemic in the midst of this presidency, did you?
No, that was...
you and me both. I mean,
yeah. To say disruptive just doesn't seem to do it justice. It was just crazy how all society just changed literally overnight. And I was really proud at the college as president. We transitioned to an online virtual environment in the course of about 10 days. And we were probably roughly 30% online prior to that. But to convert all of our courses over, and I really commend our faculty, staff, and students for making that adjustment. And, I think we were well positioned because we had something we call the Center for Teaching and Learning, which had helped make the transition to our virtual classes that we had. So we had this infrastructure in place to really help make that conversion. But to think we were, basically took a week off of classes and we were back up. And students, continued to make educational progress. And when you think about how disruptive this time period was in people's personal lives as well, their work lives, for some of them, being able to stay in school was a big deal because it kept them on track to what their educational goals were leading to the next steps. If they would have had to stop out,
sure,
that would have been, even more disruptive at a very, I think we forget just how tense a time that was with all the unknowns that were going on. To some extent, the being able to continue in school was a little bit of normalcy to go along.
Did you see people come back to school too at that time too, that maybe this was a time of change in their lives where they needed a new career path, and so coming back to school was an opportunity?
Not as much as we would normally anticipate when the economy softens a little bit. I mean, we're not technically in a recession,
sure,
but there's a lot of talk about a softening in the economy. And the big difference this time is unemployment's so low. So normally when the economy softens, unemployment goes up. And that's usually a time when we see a lot more enrollment. So that really hasn't transpired. The fact that this occurred, the transition occurred late in the spring. We didn't get new students then. Obviously, we finished out the term, and then it was summer. So we actually saw a decline in enrollment. And part of that was just the uncertainty. Some students certainly like an on-ground experience more than online, but others just didn't know what to do. Thinking about the fall of 2020,
geez, I don't think any of us thought that we would still be talking about it then.
Right. And so we definitely saw a reduction in high school graduates who went right to college. But again, I think there's just a lot of uncertainty led to that. And frankly, parents' concern and uncertainty. Most schools were staying virtual at that time. Some were going back on ground. There was a lot of consternation because even the big public universities were doing online, and people were wondering why am I paying for dorms and if it's campus life, if students aren't going to be able to take advantage of that. So just a lot of general unrest around higher ed in general.
So if we fast forward, if we can believe it, almost 3 years, because we're close to that March of 2023 moment. What are you seeing now? What are you seeing? What was this fall semester like?
Well, we still have the majority of our students are still virtual. To be frank, we expected more to want to come back on ground. We offered more on ground classes, but students, by their choice, are continuing to stay virtual. So I think it's going to take us a few years to really play that out.
To realize that Zoom just isn't fun.
Right. Well, and but it's an interesting dichotomy because you've got younger students who've done virtual learning through their whole high school experience, right? So they're more comfortable in that environment than some. And for some courses, it works better than others, of course, right? But certainly the lab type courses, the hands-on type courses, which is a lot of what we do at community colleges, those really need to be in person. So I think we've forever seen a shift. What that magic number is, what that mix is going to be, I don't think we were going to know for a couple of years, but it's definitely impacts the whole college in terms of facility utilization and issues like that as well.
Well, you guys took the time at the college to really do some cool things during the pandemic, though. Talk about the new skilled trades building at the South Campus.
Yeah, we were very, very excited by that. That was something we worked on for a number of years. Kind of funny. I mentioned earlier, I started there as the dean of that area. As we were pulling it together, I reflected back on a white paper I did in 2006. So it's something.
So in 2021, we finally got to take the walls down.
Yeah, it's been a long-term need and something we knew we really needed to do. And we were very pleased that we received our largest capital outlay support from the state, $15 million. It's a $40 million project overall. But in Macomb County, we design, we engineer, we make things. That's what we do. It's a major part of our economy. So when we talk about the programs in this Skilled Trades and Advanced Technology Center, that's what we do. It's our CNC programming, mechatronics, electronics, design, graphic arts. So it's really kind of feeding in right to the core disciplines of Macomb County. So we had done a great job over the years of keeping our programs current with equipment, with the content, with the curriculum itself. But the facility was a 1960s building. And I joke, one of the best examples of that is on one wing of the building, we had a one-stall women's restroom.
Oh, geez.
Because if you think of the 1960s, women didn't take those courses. So just a sign of the times of how antiquated the building was. So when you think about infrastructure, the heating and cooling in the building, the general learning environment, it was just dated. So it was badly needed. And we look forward. It's going to fall 2023 is when we're going to open it.
I think it's the first time I ever got to go, instead of a ribbon cutting or groundbreaking, we had a deconstruction ceremony.
Yeah, no, that was fun. It was because gosh, as I said, that building's thousands and thousands of students that have churned through there and got off to great careers, right? So it's a really foundational place for so many people in the county. So it was something to commemorate. It's been a very important facility for the college and the college's history.
I have a friend of mine's son who I know is probably one of many that's done this, but he went through your skilled trades program where he went to school 1 day a week, and the other 4 days a week he was on site at a CNC facility. And now he's hired full-time by that same organization that had him as a student co-op. He's one of many that does this, but I think it's a conversation that people don't think about very often. Talk about those programs that you guys offer.
Well, I think they're starting to kind of get a little new life, or a little more recognition finally after years and years of trying to preach that. We've got very strong apprenticeships at the college. We've got over 700 students going through apprenticeships now, and that's the model you're talking about, where they're working, they're getting on-the-job training, but they're getting the didactic or book coursework at the college simultaneously. So those are great programs, and it's a great opportunity for the student because they're earning while they're learning.
Yeah.
It's also great for the company because they're have a trial run with these people, right? Are these going to be good workers for the future? And the retention for the people who complete these programs is very, very high. And I think we see some of the better, some of our longer term clients are ones who make this investment regularly, and they're the ones who don't tend to struggle as much in an environment like now where everyone's dying for people. The people who make that investment in apprenticeship programs are not impacted as severely as others.
Well, one of the things that we learned that in talking to some of our manufacturer members at the chamber is that their biggest expense is training. And sometimes you train someone and they might not work out, or they go somewhere else. And here, like you said, they get to see that kind of trial and error, and they train someone, and you're kind of helping on that end too.
Oh, yeah. And something else the college does that a lot of people really aren't familiar with. We've got a tremendous workforce training program. We do a lot of customized training for employers. Thousands of students go through that each year, and we've got some neat programs to help pay for that. There's a program called the Michigan New Jobs Training Program that payroll taxes for new hires are captured and used to pay for the training. So it's a great way for the companies to pay for the training without feeling a direct impact. And we work partnerships are very, very important at the college. And one of our key partners is Michigan Works. We work with them very closely, trying to identify opportunities where they see a need for employers, where we provide the training and try to help meet the employer's needs. And by the same token, we're preparing those individuals for careers and get them back in the workforce.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because I always think of the college as a really good partner to my members and to our business community. And you bring up a good point that you partner on. It's just a great partnership for the county to have a strong community college, because we're helping fill the roles that all of our employers need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we meet regularly with we call it the Education Roundtable. Meet with Superintendent DeVault, John Paul Rea, Vicki Rowinski. We meet on a monthly basis along with some other staffers to really make sure we're all on the same page. And my staff meets with the County Planning Economic Development, MEDC, and Michigan Works, to call it the 4 M's, just to make sure we're all kind of symbiotic of what's going on. And that's not common as I talk to my colleagues around the state. And I think that's really important as we try to attract new business and retain business. It's important that we're working together to try to identify what the employer's needs are, and then working together to satisfy those needs.
And I think it's something very unique to Macomb County, and how often so many of us work together for that common good, because I think we all have this envision that if one of us is successful, we can all be successful behind it.
Yeah, I think that's true, Stacy. And as you said, I think that is a Macomb County thing. It's certainly not true across the state here. And we do celebrate other successes because it's good for the economic vitality of the whole community.
Absolutely. One of the other cool new things that you established in the last year was the dental program, your dental hygienist program. Yeah,
we're very excited about that. We recognize the need in the community for dental assistants and dental hygienists. Very strong support from the dental community for this. The previous program that was being offered in the county was stopped by the previous provider. So we really saw it as something needed to be addressed, and that's what the college does. Try to recognize those things that are important for the community. So I really credit our board of trustees for having the wherewithal and foresight to make that investment in the program. Last fall, we started the dental assisting program, and we put through, I want to say, 3 or 4 cohorts of students through that in this first year, and then we received our accreditation, which takes a while. This summer,
congratulations,
and this fall we started our first dental hygiene program, and we built a 24,000 square foot facility, dental education, and an area where we can actually provide service to patients. One of the great things about this program that we're really excited about is it provides an opportunity to provide low-cost dental preventative services for the community, and that's something that's sorely needed.
Absolutely.
And it's a really a win-win, because the students need patients to work on. So and obviously the patients benefit by having a very low fees to get those services provided. So it's a really kind of a full circle thing where we're preparing people for high demand, high paying jobs. We're meeting the needs of the dental community, the dental employers, and we're providing a benefit to the community as well.
And I think a couple things that I learned from coming to that facility was the technology. That the technology that you put in place from a training perspective. And then 2 things that I wouldn't have thought about until one of the students said something is that there's a way for the college, through some grants, to help them pay for their tools that they need to go on to a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that, an expense that many don't think about, but that you have found a way to kind of take away another barrier from someone going into this field.
Right. Yeah. No, we've gotten great support from the dental community, and some of those funds are being used to help pay for the tools and supplies the students need to launch into that career. One of the things that's interesting, you talk about the technology, and I'll say this in generally about the health programs we have, the simulation models are just incredible. Kind of freaky to some extent.
Yeah, just a little.
And but I mean, it really prepares students well for what they're going to see in the real world. And it's, we're fortunate at the college we have the resources to be able to stay on top of that and have first class simulation.
And I think the other thing, and again, it's in fields that you're unfamiliar with or don't spend a lot of time in, but the need for these positions in dental offices is extreme. I mean, that job board in your facility, I remember looking at it, there was no space on the wall, and most of them were here in Macomb County too.
Yeah, no, it is. And, it's not something you think about. You kind of have your dentist you go to, and you're used to going there, but it is a really high demand field. There tends to be some turnover. It's, the demographics, it's many more younger females. They go through raising a family for a period of time, so you have some churn there. So there's this constant need to influx new people.
We had a new member join the chamber earlier this year, a dentistry practice in Shelby Township, and the first thing he said is, I need hygienists and assistants. Where do I even start? And I said, well, let me introduce you to some friends of mine, because it's almost like you rob Peter to pay Paul sometimes. Mm-hmm. And here you're able to really provide a service that, is really, really well needed with some great careers that people might not think about. It might not be the first thing that comes to their mind.
Right. No, I agree. And prior to this, there was a college that was offering a small program in the county, and then students had to go either to Oakland Community College or to Wayne County Community College, or University of Detroit Mercy. So really, there was a need to bring it to Macomb for our residents, for our dentists.
So what's next? Tell me what's going on at the college. What else is new and exciting?
Well, we're always looking for opportunities for new programs. We're trying to identify what we think the needs are going to be. A couple that we've started that are relatively new. We started a marine maintenance technology program.
Oh.
The timing on that was rough because we were ready to launch right when the pandemic hit, unfortunately. So we had a little bit of a delayed start there. But, as you realize, we're a boating community, right? There's a tremendous number of marinas in the area. Many people are boat owners, but people to service the boats is a challenge. So, and there's really nothing locally to prepare people. So we, with the Michigan Boating Industry Association, we work collaboratively with them to create this program. It's a 5-week, 40-hour-week program, basically, roughly $5,200, and it gives people the basic skills they need to begin to be a marine maintenance technologist. So we've had several cohorts go through now in the last couple of years. It's been very well received, both by the individuals going through it as well as the marina owners as well.
Because we talk about skilled trades, and a lot of people that have gone into some of these programs have stayed for the longevity of their career, and they're now to retirement. So you're helping really fuel that next that line of employees.
Yep. And another area that we've been involved for a while, but it continues to emerge is the cybersecurity. Next week or 2 weeks, we're wrapping up our first cyber boot camp that we put together. Our cyber program is NSA recognized. It's a high demand, high training field. So it's something we're continuing to dabble in and push, but we see great opportunities going forward there as well.
And one of the areas that I've had the opportunity probably to work the closest with is with your entrepreneurship team too. A couple months ago, I got a call from somebody that said, I want to start a mobile dog grooming business. What kind of licenses do I need? And I said, I have no idea, but I know someone that does. Mm-hmm. So you're really helping. We've talked a lot post-pandemic about, people's return to work has looked differently, where they might have gone to an office. Now, they worked somewhere, they decided to start their own business. And you have ways to help those people too that want to start, that have a dream and want to see it through. Yeah,
we have our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. It's exactly for that, Stacy, to try to help students as well as community members kind of navigate that arena, which is challenging. There's a lot of different.
I don't know what kind of licenses a dog groomer needs.
Right. Just that's a great example. But we have the folks who can try to help people navigate their way through those systems, and also connect them with other resources. We really, I talked about partnerships earlier, and the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship is a great example of an area where we want to partner. We want to partner with the MEDC, with the county, with the Velocity Center in Sterling Heights. It's incumbent we create that culture that supports entrepreneurs. And really try not to have a competitive environment.
Sure.
Try to work together and utilize our joint resources to really help prepare people for success.
Because I think we talk a lot about this. People have great ideas sometimes, and it's like, how do we then, as a community, help a great idea become a successful business? And I think by having these programs, you really help people put them on the right path to success of a business owner.
Yeah, well, I'm always struck. I believe the statistic is 95% of people work with employers of 50 or less in the county. That's staggering when you think about it,
Right.
right? We think about the large employers like Stellantis or GM or Ford, but the reality is it's the smaller companies where people work that are really employing people. So those had to start at some point in time,
Right.
right? They needed to have that initial idea to launch themselves, and whatever role we can play there helping, we see that as part of our responsibility.
And that's something I had a conversation a couple weeks ago with some Gen Zs, which I am not. I am far from Gen Z, but we were talking about how people's impression of the workforce has changed. And if you think, I think of my dad. My dad was an engineer. He went to go work for someone. And then, a lot of people might have started their own business secondary. And now what you're seeing is these young people are starting their own businesses, selling it, and then going to work for somebody. So kind of our workforce has changed too a little bit.
Well, I think so. I mean, and really, if you dive deeper into that, it's really impacted people's view of higher education in general.
Sure.
There's a lot more questioning today of the value of a college degree. And, it's important for us at the college that we've got other options as well, right? We do a tremendous amount of workforce and continuing education training that prepare people for either jobs in health fields, the engineering technology areas, business areas, just to provide basic skills to help them launch with a certificate as opposed to earning a degree. And then armed with some of those skills, some of those specific skills, they're better able to launch into their own business.
And I think that's where the college has really, elevated themselves in the community is showcasing some of the ways that people can get more involved in their own business by bettering themselves too with these certificates or, these programs that you offer. I think that there is so much more that Macomb Community College offers than people think about all the time. It's not just the degree.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that's beginning to become more and more important over the near term. I think these shorter term certificates, because what we talked earlier about the low unemployment, but we're also competing with higher wage jobs initially. But the reality is still, the Georgetown study from 2021, college degree earners make roughly $2.6 million in a lifetime. High school graduates make roughly $1.6 million. There's still a tremendous gap there. And, it's going to be interesting to see, as people may have started with good paying entry level jobs, where are they going to be 5 years down the line? Are they going to, as they aspire for careers, will they need an education? Will they need a series of certificates as opposed to degrees? And we as the college need to be flexible enough to provide those different options. It's going to help prepare them for whatever their goals are.
And I think employers need to look at that too. I think, when we hired for the last 10 or 15 years, the bare minimum was, need a college degree. And is that necessary? And I mean, I think as an employer, we need to look at, does that degree mean that person can do that job, or is it skill-based or certificate-based? And I hope that we all kind of take a good look at our hiring practices moving forward too.
There was an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning about that very topic.
There we go.
On page 3.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it was that very topic. And the interesting thing is employers aren't doing this out of some altruistic or some great vision. They're doing it out of necessity.
Sure, absolutely.
They can't find people, and they're recognizing that some of these artificial barriers they put up in the past may be preventing them from finding good people. Mm-hmm. It's particularly prevalent in the IT industry. So I think that trend will continue for a while, but it will be interesting to see how the employers adapt, because at the college we've had personal experience talking to the hiring managers who say, I don't care about a degree, and talking to HR who says, you got to have a degree. So they have to work that out amongst themselves as well. But I think to your point, it is a transition that's going to continue.
I think that the pandemic shook a lot of things up, right? And I remember someone telling me at the start of the pandemic, okay, never waste a good crisis. I'd been there for 6 months at the chamber when the pandemic hit. But I think it took a way for all of us to kind of shake up the cultural norms that we had in place. And maybe this will kind of shake us all up on how we hire and what we look for in terms of this.
Well, I think so, and really how we do business. I mean, we joked earlier about Zoom to death, but even operationally at the college, there are some advantages to virtual meetings, right? And we've got 4 campuses, and having people travel around for meetings when you intimately know each other already, video meetings are fine for those types of things.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, we would have eventually got there, but it would have taken us years, and we got there in weeks. And I think it's true of all organizations. There's some operational efficiencies that go along with that. Now, there's downsides too, as far as collaboration, people working together, building those
find
relationships.
This medium somewhere.
Exactly.
I always say it's a pendulum shift, right? We went all the way over here, and now we're working our way back to the middle.
But that I would argue the pandemic brought that disruption to us and forced us to have to wrestle with that in a much more consolidated time than we would have otherwise had to do.
And we had to make decisions quicker. So I think that we all learned something during these 3 years that we keep on going with this. Jim, I always say this about the college. You are an incredible partner in our community. And I hope that you realize the benefit that we all take from the students that you bring to us, from the employees of yours that we get to work with, from you. You're a constant presence in our community. And thank you, for being that role and that leader and bringing good employees and good students to Macomb.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Stacy, but we have a great faculty and staff at the college, people very committed to really helping our students be successful. And, we take great pride in having our students go on and achieve their goal and go on either to further education or going right to work, what their preference is. But it's something we take great pride in at the college. And
you should, because you do a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here with us today on our Chamber Connection. I hope that our listeners took away a lot more about the college and, just all the programs that you have to offer, and recommend it to somebody that's out there looking to make a change.
Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I hope that you will join us on our next edition of the Chamber Connection. Thanks for tuning in to the Chamber Connection. Be sure to check out information on the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce website, our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We look forward to you connecting with us and tuning in next week.